Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, then you're tuned in for another episode of Marking Out Amongst Friends, episode 17. You know who I am. It's your boy Jay Riddy in the building. I need no introduction. You also know who my wonderful co-hosts are in the building, my partners in podcast, if you will, Lady Great One and Mr. VIP. You guys say hi to the people.
Hello,
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 hello.
hello.
All right, so got a lot of information to go over tonight. Got a lot of topics to discuss here. First and foremost, if you've been watching WWE or if you haven't been watching WWE, if you've been watching ESPN, or if you haven't been living under a rock, the biggest announcement in wrestling this week would be WWE announcing its first annual all women's pay-per-view labeled Evolution. Okay, this is something that everybody had been discussing in the last couple of years. We've been talking about all the revolutionized events that women have been making a lot of first. The first women's Hell in a Cell, the first women's Elimination Chamber. Well, not Hell in a Cell, I made that up. Um, Actually, no, I didn't make that up. It wasn't Hell in a Cell. That was Sasha and
There was
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Yeah, so the first women's Hell in a Cell, first Money in the Bank, first Elimination Chamber. Now,
Iron
first
Man.
all
First
women's,
Royal Rumble.
first women's Royal Rumble, absolutely. And now we are going to get the first ever women's all pay per view, or all women's pay per view. Lady Great One, how do you feel about this?
Well, coming from a long time wrestling fan, I'm extremely excited for these women. Yes, this has been done in other promotions before, but it has not been done by the best promotion. That's just my opinion. If I make you mad, I'm just sorry. I'm just saying. Swerves and curves coming at you. I hadn't used it in a while, so I had to bring it back. Um, but yeah, in other words, I'm extremely excited to see this pay per view coming up in October. I'm really, really anxious to see the women of then, now, and forever. I'm anxious to see what pairings we may have, some mashups, what matches may possibly be during this. Are we going to have a triple threat? Are all titles going to be on the line? How are we going to do this pay per view? Are we just go? I hope we don't have a bunch of daggone battle royals and stuff like that on this. I hope we have some good quality matches where every woman gets their opportunity to shine and show how much that they have worked to this point instead of us being 2 minute bra and panty eye candy.
Brian Penny Eye Candy, hashtag I like that. Um, Mr. VIP, what's your take on the women's all women's pay per view? Is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Do you think it's going to be something great the first time over, or what?
Um, with the caliber of women that they have and the way everything else has been going with them, I think it's an incredible thing. Um, like Lady Great One said, you go from 5 minute matches, bra and panties. Although there's really nothing wrong with bra and panties match, but going to the mud wrestling and all of that to having, you know, Hell in the Cells and Iron Mans and all of these incredible matches, and now getting a pay per view, they very much deserve it, and it is a long time coming. And I'm very excited to see what they do, um, who they bring back. I'm kind of hoping for like some of the older women to come back and maybe like have a challenge. Maybe Beth Phoenix will challenge Nia Jax or something. Um, Maybe the Iconics can fight Lake Cool. Something to bring some of the old and the new together. But it's an amazing accomplishment for the women.
Absolutely. I definitely feel the same way as both of you guys, and I know we don't always all agree, or maybe we agree too much. But I definitely think that is definitely big for history. A lot of people think that the whole women's revolution, as they do everything else with everything is popular, they always say that they're forcing it down our throats or it's being forced or things like that. I, for one, I'm glad to see WWE finally taking women's wrestling serious. Like you said, it's not the first time it's been done. Impact, when it was at its peak, was probably the biggest company known for women's wrestling in the United States. And then, of course, Japanese women's wrestling is on a whole nother level on its own. But I'm definitely glad to see this happening. Some things that I want to happen during this pay per view, like you said, I want to see some good matches. I want to see some old versus new. But what I really wanted to see before I even wanted to see the pay per view itself was women's tag team division from the WWE. You simply have too many women on the roster right now to just have one title on each show, and it seems like they don't know what to do with a storyline with women when they're not putting them in the title picture. What have you done with Naomi since she's lost the title? Nothing. Uh, the same for the other members of the Four Horsewomen. What have you done with Becky Lynch since her first title run on SmackDown? Nothing. You know,
Correction. Becky Lynch is now the number one contender to Carmella's belt.
so she's in a world title feud.
But this is the first time she's done something since the first title side. So,
but what I was saying is they don't do anything with the women outside of title feuds.
I really do think they should. I mean, they have had women's tag team titles before. I think it's something they do need to bring back. Um, I was just looking at some uh, older matches, and it was a 2 out of 3 falls tag team match for the women's title. This is back in '79. So I think it's something that they do need to do. Like you said, there's too many women and not enough titles.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not going for a title, you have meaningless tag team matches.
Mm-hmm. That mean
It's
nothing.
not
So if
going
you're gonna,
anywhere.
yeah, if you're gonna and that's the thing about it. I'm not the person who likes to, be the fan fiction writer or thinks that he could be a better writer than everyone else. But one of the things that the writing does lack, so to speak, in WWE, and it's not even just really in the women's division. A lot of times they don't know how to write stories outside of title feuds. And that's why you got guys who go around just aimlessly having, different matches, and that's why you got the guys who are leaning on those open challenge, type situations in the mid card division. I don't think that the writing team in WWE knows what to do well with as far as creating a story outside of a title, so to speak, or outside of a big name that's already built like Brock Lesnar or Ronda Rousey, or etc. So there's definitely some things that need to be done to kind of help boost the women's division. I think the tag team titles would definitely be a huge boost. My only thing about that, though, is that if they do a tag team titles, they have too many women not to have tag team titles, but they don't have enough women to have a tag team title on both shows. So I would think that if you do a tag team division, that the tag team division is interbrand, so to speak.
If it's maybe interbrand, or at least Raw has to get one. I mean, you got 3 hours. That can at least get one. And um, maybe the women on SmackDown can get like a secondary singles title, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And they have enough, which they'll start bringing them up. They got some people in NXT that they'll probably just bring up to add more to that division if they do. But like you said, I think it would just have to see how they would do it. Raw could do it with as many hours that they have. It just what would happen to SmackDown.
True.
Personally, what I think it should be like a tournament for like a tag team titles. You take your best 4 teams from Raw, your best 4 teams from SmackDown. Since all the pay-per-views right now are co-branded, it would be a great way to introduce the tag titles. and also throw some NXT women in there and have women go down to NXT and have them fight if the NXT people win it. Just like have all the brands kind of coexist with a women's tag division, since you don't have enough on both main shows to have a viable two tag title division, should I say.
Well, I for one, no matter which way that goes, I'm just happy that women are being shown appreciation. I mean, especially in this day and age of we're stepping into more of a equality type thing. So, I mean, for WWE to go out there and to put their women out in the forefront, kudos to them. Um, and not only WWE, but here on Marking Out Amongst Friends, we definitely appreciate the women on our show as well, or the woman on our show. On top of that, somebody had a birthday this week on the show. Well, I tell you what, it wasn't me. It wasn't Mr. VIP. Me.
It's me. It's me. It's the DO double G. No, it was me. It was my birthday. I had to pull out a little bit of the road dog Jesse James there. Shout out to Jesse James there. But it is Leo season. It was my birthday. It was just this past Tuesday, July 24th. Mark it down in your calendars. Send me gifts. I'm still waiting on my $10 from Wayne Cook. But
So everybody who's listening to the show, if you're a member of if you're a member of the page, if you like the page, you should subscribe to the page. If you're a member of the Game Runners, if you know Toya, give her a birthday shout out. If she has a cash app, she can put it out there if you want to send her some money. I got a cash app if you want to just send me some money if you're in a given mood as well. But definitely happy birthday. Definitely a pleasure having you on the show. It's always good to get your feedback on everything. And the show would definitely not be the same without you.
I greatly appreciate it, you guys. I mean, just the love. I don't need the money. Well, I could always use the money, but I don't need anybody to actually send me donations. Take that money and donate it to your favorite charity. I didn't do it on Facebook like I should have, like a good person normally was, but I just couldn't pick out one charity that I felt was deserving enough. So for my birthday, please donate to your favorite charity. That's all I would ask for you.
My favorite charity, if you guys want to donate, would be to the Cash App $J Riddy. It's going to go to a good cause. I promise you. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, I'm not that selfish.
I was going to share it. I was going to share some of it.
With your wife?
Yeah, I didn't say who I was going to share it with. I just said I was going to share it. But back to what we were talking about before here, the women's division. So there's a lot of talk, especially from the internet wrestling community, that stated that Stephanie McMahon was trying to take credit for starting the women's revolution, and they are stating that actually AJ Lee should get credit for revolutionizing the women's division in WWE. Buy or sell? Do you guys buy that AJ Lee started the revolution, or are you selling? Do you think that that's just a crocker-ish, so to speak?
For me, let me go ahead and jump on this real quick. I'm halfway in here. I will say that there were other women who actually started the revolution. However, the most social media savvy person to start the revolution was AJ Lee. I have to make sure I make that clear, because this revolution started well before she was even in the WWE, when she was still running around in training pants. This revolution was starting. But I do have to give credit where credit is due. In the social media era that is where we're in today, AJ Lee did come out with the hashtag Give the Divas a Chance. Now, there have been a multitude of women, China, Trish, Lita, Ivory, Jacqueline, Alundra Blaze. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. Sensational Sherry.
What?
I mean, this goes all the way back to Mae Young.
What?
So, I mean, this is not just something that AJ Lee started. However, in the social media age, I have to give credit what credit is due to AJ Lee because she was the one who stood up and fought for it in this era. But she's not alone on this battle. And for Stephanie to do that, Stephanie was in the ring too. So she grew up in the business. She's always had a fight for it. So Stephanie deserves just as much credit as AJ Lee.
Very true. I I think AJ Lee, she started a hashtag. Um, Starting the revolution, no. She started a hashtag. That's that's mostly what she did. There was a lot of people before her, as Lady Great One said. Uh, there was a lot of people after her that did a lot more. Um, like I said, Trish and Lita, Mickey James, all of them did more for women's wrestling than what AJ had did later on. Paige, Emma, Sasha Banks, and all of them did more. Um, Stephanie has done more. If you, like you said, Stephanie's been in the ring wrestling way before a lot of them. She had some of the best and biggest storylines going. She was one of the biggest heels as a woman going, and you can't deny that she also has had a huge influence on a lot of the women, and they'll say that their sales. Um, I've never heard like the what she did the other day. She didn't say that she was the sole thing. She said y'all are the ones who started it. There was a hashtag. She didn't say who did the hashtag, but there was a hashtag and we listened. She didn't say that I started a hashtag or that I did this, but in reality, she's done a lot for women's wrestling herself. But I don't think it's collectively one person. It is a lot of people, a lot of women that have gone through a lot um, in the past that may have had little times where okay, people really got into it, and then it might have went back down, and then you may have had some really incredible matches, and then it went back down to the models and stuff. But there's a lot of women before AJ that did a lot more um, for women's wrestling, and like with Trish and Lita, the reason that all of these women who are wrestling now even wanted to be wrestling is because of Trish and Lita, Ivory, Jacqueline. When they saw them and seen what they could do, that's what made them want to become wrestlers.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm more. I'm leaning more towards kind of what Lady Great One was saying on this one. Um, I'm on the fence. There's a lot of what AJ Lee did that did kind of boost the women's revolution when she was active on the roster. The matches that she had with Paige, putting Paige over the first night that Paige came to Raw. Um, I definitely, even though a lot of people would not give credit to them and a lot of people would disagree with what I'm saying, the Bellas have a lot to do with the women's revolution as well. Um, Not only because it's not from a wrestling standpoint, but more so being a star talent on the roster as a woman in this day and age is something that's definitely tough to do. So even having your own reality show, headlining, Total Divas, which has been a success since it came out, that's part of the women's revolution as well. So we won't discredit them. If I really want to give credit though for this generation or who started it, I got to go back to the Attitude Era with Trish and Lita. I mean,
Yeah,
Trish Stratus was one of those another pretty face that came in, and that's what
and
exactly what
and,
people.
and body and body.
Yeah, but that's all people thought that she was going to be when she was valeting Tess and Albert. They thought that she was just going to be arm candy, and she really transitioned from somebody who didn't really have much training, didn't have much skill, to being one of the top women on the show. Lita, on the other hand, came in wrestling with guys, which, for a woman that's not too big, for somebody of her size, that's definitely revolutionary. I see a lot of Lita and Selena Vega when I see her interfere every now and then and hit that Hurricane Rana. It just takes me back a little bit. Even before them, you got to give credit where credit is due to China. Now, we know the WWE is not going to give credit to China, and we still, I still have that conversation we had on the brain last week about forgiveness and some people needing forgiveness. Um, for the things that they did after they left WWE. China was another one. I don't think that there's been another women's intercontinental champion outside of China. I don't know if anybody wants to fact check me on that one, but correct me if I'm wrong. But she's part of the revolution as well. So I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that go into that, and I don't want to
You
just
also
give
go
credit.
to Beth Phoenix.
Yeah, Beth Phoenix, definitely the Glamazon. She definitely showed domination uh, in the women's division. So I mean, there's a lot of people that you can give credit to. I think we should just be happy that the women are given, the spotlight. Period. And we shouldn't focus on who started what, so to speak.
Very true.
All right, moving right
And who?
along to our next topic. We were talking about the ladies, and now we're going to bring up somebody who's not really popular with most men in the demographic of WWE, but he's definitely very popular with the ladies. He's also your new number one contender for the Universal title, Roman Reigns. So Roman Reigns is about to get a shot at SummerSlam and Brock Lesnar for what is this? The fifth time in 2018? Is this number
Yeah, I
five,
think
or
so.
is this number 4 or 5?
Fourth, I think.
Okay. Yeah, so this is number 4 in 2018. Roman Reigns is defeated in his record right now. He's 0-3. So, buy or sell, do you think Roman Reigns is walking away from SummerSlam at the end of the night and when the show goes off as Universal Champion?
God, I hope not. Um, it would it it kind of defeats the purpose. I mean, it would be like it took you 3 or 4 times to beat him. Um, how can you really say you're the champion if you fought the guy and have lost to him fairly each time? It kind of defeats you supposed to be in the big dog. If it takes that many turns for you to try to beat him, and especially if it at sometimes wasn't even close. I mean, WrestleMania he was getting destroyed the whole time. So um, I'm hoping that something else happens. I don't think that they should do another Roman and Brock because I mean people hated it at WrestleMania, and I can't imagine how much they're gonna hate to see them if it's just a one-on-one match. How much they're gonna boo and hate them at SummerSlam.
And here's where I will disagree with you, Mr. VIP. Roman Reigns will win. He will win. He will beat Brock. However, Braun will cash in, and
You know,
Braun Strowman will be the champion walking out. I'm not saying that Roman's gonna have the title for a minute because we see the difference, and if they're truly listening to us, you see how people say, "Oh, Roman shoved down our throats," but Roman hasn't held a title in how long? But he's shoved down
very
our
true.
throats now. He is shoved down our throats.
It's been at least three
But
years.
I'm sorry,
I said it's been at least 3 years.
it's been three
Yes,
years, 3 whole years since he's held the title, and he can
world
hold
title.
us three. Yeah, for the world championship, universal, whatever name that you want to put on it. He's not WWE champion because that's on SmackDown. Um, he's not any champion. He won the Intercontinental Championship, and that was it.
For a little bit, and he lost that.
Yeah, and he
Yeah, he held
took
that
it
for
from the
about a
Miz.
week.
The Miz got it right back. And I really think that was more on just like the Mrs. count. So, to get his numbers up. But to bring it back though, the if the people truly knew who they wanted, right now they're behind Braun Strowman because he's anybody but Roman Reigns. So you know what you do? You swerve. You've already got a title match, or not even a title match, but a match between Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman for his Money in the Bank contract. How messed up is that? And then who's to say that next week when Brock does show up on Raw like he's scheduled to, that Braun Strowman just says, you know what, to hell with it. I'm going to go ahead and take the opportunity and cash in right now. So then it'll end up being Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship and just take Brock ultimately out the picture. That, my friend, swears a curse.
What about Bobby Lashley? Lashley can come back out and say, well, you beat me on Raw, but I beat you at the pay-per-view. So we're 1-1. So he could try to say there's an easy way for him to try to get back into the title match. But like I said, I did think about the Braun Strowman thing. I if I wanted him, if Braun cashed it in, I would love him to cash it in on Brock more than Roman. Of course, like I said, either way, the fans are going to boo the heck out of whoever wins the match if it's just between Roman and Brock, and they'll cheer if Braun comes out there. But I just think something else has to happen with Roman.
Maybe a fatal 4-way elimination style. That would be nice.
That would be nice. Something that's different from what they've been doing, and something that would mean more than just a one-on-one match that we've seen that nobody liked any of the times that they've had it, and then try to do it again.
Even if something as simple as Falls Count Anywhere would make this match a lot better.
Yeah, but I like you said, I don't think a one-on-one is gonna. I don't think anybody would care if it's just one-on-one, no matter what stipulation they put. I think it's still gonna be, who cares? It's Brock and Roman. Get somebody else.
I disagree with both of y'all. I think that Roman Reigns is long overdue for a title run. We just discussed it's been about 3 years since he's had a title. He's going to have a title run eventually. And we know he's been getting the push to get the title run this year. So, I mean, there's no need to put it off and keep putting it off. Let him have the title. Just like with Brock Lesnar having the title for so long right now, is adding prestige because it's a big star holding the title. Roman Reigns is one of the biggest stars in the company, whether he's booed or not. It's still going to add prestige to the title as long as he's holding it. You know what it also does? The same thing that Brock is doing with the title now. Once Roman Reigns drops that title, it's going to be an instant push for whoever gets the title from him. So whether Braun gets it from Brock Lesnar, whether Roman Reigns wins the title at SummerSlam and goes into Raw, and Braun just goes face-to-face with him on Raw and lets him know that his time is borrowed, I still think that it's still going to do good for the Universal title. I mean, what's the main event title if you're not putting it on your biggest stars?
I mean, I'm not saying that Roman shouldn't win. I just don't think, after how they've done him against Brock, I don't think. I mean, literally, like you said, at WrestleMania, he got the hell beat out of him. And then when I was thinking, okay, he's came back, he's fought, this is going to be the match. It's going to be a good, battle between them two. And then he goes again and gets suplexed to death. So it would make, like at WrestleMania, you got the hell beat out of you. Then how you come back at SummerSlam and now you can beat him. when
So
you
what if?
just lost to Bobby at the pay-per-view, at the last pay-per-view, how are you gonna beat Brock?
So what if he breaks out of Suplex City? Be the first time we see somebody broke out of. Well, no, Braun broke out of it once.
Braun did. I mean, if he put on an incredible match for him, I would love it. I think that would be uh, what they need to do.
Oh, you can
But
cancel Christmas on that. There, you're not getting an incredible match from Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar.
I mean, but
If Brock Lesnar, sorry, I don't mean to jump in here, but if Brock Lesnar were to bring back the old Brock Lesnar, if he's not the Suplex City mayor, then we can get a good match between Roman and Brock. If Brock Lesnar goes back to doing the 450, I mean, not the 450, but the shooting star press off the top rope like he can do, like he knows he can do, then it would actually be something of interest. If Brock Lesnar actually is more about wrestling than about just the notoriety of having that belt, then we can get a good match out of Brock Lesnar. But until then, it's going to be trash.
Trash. Wait. Oh, Brock Lesnar is
BROCK. Trash. Okay, anyway, I
trash.
had to do that.
But no, I don't blame either star. Honestly, I think there's gonna be things about both of them that you don't like, just because we're in a generation that hates guys that are heavyweights, so to speak. We hate big guys in this generation. Nobody wanted to like Roman Reigns when he first started getting his singles push because they knew that he was the future. Nobody wants to see Brock Lesnar with the title. Before Braun Strowman started destroying Roman Reigns, nobody wanted to see Braun Strowman get pushed because everybody has this agenda that Vince McMahon only likes, big 7-footers or big muscle bound guys. When in all actuality,
Men. Yes.
I'm sorry.
I said big, hot, sweaty men.
Oh,
Yes.
no, that's not coming from me. But I think that there's this agenda, first of all, that people don't like when any big guy gets pushed. And then when you're a big guy and you don't have a background in any of the other promotions, your Ring of Honors, your TNAs or your New Japan, now that's two
If
strikes
you're not an
against you.
indie darling,
Yeah, if you're not an indie darling, that's two strikes against you. You're a big guy and you're not an indie darling. So now what they're going to do is going to be overly critical of everything that you do when you fit that mold. So now if you mess up on a suplex, oh, this guy can't wrestle. If you mess up on a promo, oh, this guy can't talk. Why are they pushing him? If you slip up coming down the ring and fall under the ring, why is this guy on television? It's just...
his name is Titus O'Neil.
I'm sorry. I my grandmother called. I'm back.
Is she gonna bring some milk and cookies for the show? I mean, I was joking,
Hey,
but I'm
Grandma.
serious. I'm a little hungry. But no,
Okay.
I think there's always an agenda against the big guy in WWE. So everybody is anti-big guy in WWE because they think that that's all that gets pushed. But in all actuality, the little guy most of the time gets the title in WWE. I mean, Seth Rollins got a long run. CM Punk got a long run. Daniel Bryan got a long run. AJ Styles is getting a very long run. In between that, when you want to throw Roman Reigns out there, fine. That's one big guy they got to push in the last couple of years. Brock Lesnar,
But it's been
it's a
a couple of
part-timer.
years.
Yeah, you put the title on Brock Lesnar a part-timer. So it's really not even a big deal about him being a big guy more than he's just not on the show. Other than
And
that,
he's really the first big guy that actually has held the title for a while. Usually big guys don't hold the title for that long.
mm-hmm. And it's like one of those things. Well, first I always say, Roman Reigns is not even really that big. I tell people all the time, if you really compare the two, Dean Ambrose is bigger than Roman Reigns. But you'll never see that because you barely ever see them side by side in the ring, and you never see Roman Reigns without the vest on. But Roman Reigns is not even really that big of a guy. He's just a power guy, and he's a striker, so to speak. So, I mean, but it's just one of those things where I don't know where we got to the point where we're just being anti-big guy in the company.
It became part of everybody watch the internet and can see indie guys, and most of them are small guys. So now the only people that we want to see is indie wrestlers who we've seen on local promotions.
But
And we just want to push them and forget that there are big guys too. I mean, and continue to say that WWF doesn't do anything with the small guys when every indie guy that's been on there has had a huge push.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, there's really not one that hasn't been pushed to the moon. Finn Balor, AJ Styles.
The biggest person, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but this is actually a great segue into the person I was going to talk about. Kevin Owens. Kevin Steen. Kevin Owens is the indie darling big guy who can do incredible things with his bigger frame that people want to see take the title off of somebody like Brock. Mm-hmm. If you want to push a big indie darling, so to speak, there's your option. There's your moneymaker, Kevin Owens. He's a great heel. He can work the mic. He can talk. He has a great ring presence. He is exciting in the ring. If you really want to push an indie darling to the moon, we've done it. Kevin Owens has been to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing about it is you got guys like Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is a big guy, but Kevin Owens is not a 7-footer, and he's not muscle bound, so I guess he doesn't count, so to speak.
And he's an indie darling. So
and he's an indie darling, but on top of all of that, the thing about it, I know we're getting off track a little bit here, but I'm about to get on my soapbox for a second. I hate this whole thing that one person says something on the internet and everybody runs along with it as if it's gospel. Like one person says that the booking is terrible, now everybody wants to talk about booking. One person says that they only push guys, now everybody's saying, oh, they only push big guys. The little guy has never been somebody who is not getting pushed in WWE, especially for the guys who are our age, who've been watching wrestling since the early 90s, late 80s. You got your guys, of course, the Hulk Hogans and the Ultimate Warriors and things like that, but the Macho Man wasn't somebody who was really that big, so to speak. Nope. Bret Hart was not big.
No.
Shawn Michaels was not big. You move right along over into the Attitude Era or the Ruthless Aggression Era. Edge wasn't big. Rey Mysterio wasn't big.
Rock and Stone Cold weren't big.
Rock was big. Rock was big. Rock was pushing about 280 for the majority of his term in WWE. He's 6'5", 280. He fits that mold. Stone Cold, no. The Rock technically is in that mold. He just wasn't like a big powerhouse, so to speak.
I'm talking about like height and weight.
You're talking about like the people back in the day when he had the only champions were 300-pound guys.
But I think that they're more so that realm, and they're also talking about the guys who are just like big and overly muscular. But my point is, like, those guys, they get title runs, but you get plenty of little guys that get title runs. Probably more little guys get title runs than any other. Like I said, Eddie Guerrero.
Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero. Chris Benoit wasn't that big. He was just jacked.
I think back in the day, yeah, they did used to focus more on big guys. But like you said, nowadays, and for actually going for a while, they focus on the smaller, medium-sized guys. I mean, they found that they're more athletic. They can do more things in the ring. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're more entertaining, and they focused on them. People are not seeing that, but I'm like, you look at your champions. The biggest champion you've had is Brock Lesnar, Batista. That's really the last, 300-pound guys that you've had as a champion. They fought people like Edge. They fought people like Eddie. They fought people like Ray, Chris Benoit, Triple H, Shawn
Daniel
Michaels,
Bryan, Randy
Daniel
Orton.
Bryan. They fought all smaller people besides Batista, Undertaker, and Brock. Really, there's not been big people, but we constantly say how much that they don't push the little guys, but all the little guys are getting everything.
Exactly. So I mean, I just wanted to get on the soapbox really quick and throw that out there. Like I hate that's one of those phrases that I hate that people always constantly say. Another one that I hate that people overly use all the time is the word burying. Oh my God, one guy takes a loss and he's getting buried. This guy's not a champion, he's getting buried. It's just like we overly use that term to where it doesn't even mean anything. And really, it shouldn't mean anything to a fan regardless because we're not bookers.
Yes.
But at the same time, one loss is not burying somebody. Losing a feud is not burying somebody. If you have enough star
Being
power,
in a
you can
casket match at the Greatest Warrior Rumble, getting physically buried is not burying somebody.
because you're fighting a
No.
legend. You get a
Yes.
match with a legend. You give me the option right now. If I'm in the greatest Royal Rumble ever, pay per view or show or whatever, you give me an option to be in the greatest Royal Rumble and not win, possibly get 3 or 4 eliminations, or you give me a chance to lose, but I get to have a one-on-one match with the Undertaker, who only shows up once or twice a year. I can tell
In
you
one
Um,
of
right now
his
which I'm
last
going to pick.
matches.
Yeah, in one of his last matches. Yeah, I'm picking the Undertaker every time. It would be stupid not
And
to.
and if you go online, I was watching like the what is it? The thing where they watch the people ride along.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to Rusev, and he said when he found out that he was going to fight the Undertaker, he was so excited. He was so happy. He was saying he made the Twitter thing saying "bury me now," but he was saying like he's excited. I can't wait to fight him. And then he said he took him off, and he's like, "No, I want to fight the Undertaker." And then they brought him back on. He said the Prince of Saudi Arabia wanted him to be there, so they put him back on. But he was like he was excited about it. People forget that wins and losses sometimes don't matter. It's the fact that you can have the greatest match with somebody and lose. People don't remember you lost. People remember how great the match was. The TLC matches, nobody remembers who won. Everybody remembers the match. The match
Mm-hmm.
was just so exciting. That's what they remembered. And it can take a loss to bring somebody up. You can lose, but oh my God, you fought, you tried. That's storytelling. You fought and tried your best, and you almost got there, but you didn't. And the next time you're gonna get there. But like you said, people say if they lose one match, they lose two matches, they're being buried. They don't like somebody. They're in the doghouse. They're in
Mm-hmm.
trouble.
And like I hate it so much because there's a select few of wrestlers, there's a handful full of wrestlers that actually feed into that. So you got your guys that are not happy with them, being an intercontinental champion, or not happy with being a cruiserweight champion, or not happy with not being in the main event. And of course, it's everybody's boyhood dream to be in the WWE, and everybody feels like they're great enough to be a star. But there can only be a handful of people who are going to be the faces of the company. So I mean, with the guys that the talent
Especially
that
with
they
so
have
much
right
talent.
now, yeah, the talent that they have right now, you got AJ Styles, you got Seth Rollins, you got even Roman Reigns,
Finn
you
Balor.
got Samoa Joe, you got Finn Balor. So I mean, for the guys that are coming up, I'm nervous if I'm in the Indies or if I'm in NXT because when I come to the main roster, I have to be able to outperform these guys in order to take their spot.
Yes.
So I mean, it's not just it's WWE. I'm from New Japan. New Japan's better than WWE. I should be your champion. It's really not that easy. I mean, even the people who complain could not really book. I honestly believe the people who complain couldn't book WWE much better than what they're doing now. I think either if it's not going to be even kill, more people will probably book it worse. Because if you
I
put
think
Kevin, you can say the title should be on Kevin Owens right now, but then what do you do to book him for the next couple of months? What do you do to book the rest of the roster around him for the next couple of months? Who do you book to be your other champion? Who do you book to be your mid-card champions? What feuds do you create in the mid-card? Who do you book to be your cruiserweight champion? You know, it's more than just the main title on the show, but people watch WWE so differently and so much more judgmentally than they do for any other federation, whether when they would just watch it and try to build a like on somebody.
Because of the fact, I'm sorry, because of the fact that it is the WWE, does it get so much hate? And that's exactly what the problem is. WWE fans think that just because, oh, there's Ring of Honor, there's Impact, there's New Japan, that, oh, everything that they do cannot be right because WWE is so wrong. Every person that they push in these other companies is right because WWE is so wrong. They take Dave Meltzer as gospel and hold it true above everything else. In which, yes, we all know Dave Meltzer, whatever the hell his last name is, that dude loves New Japan. He sucks New Japan's dick. Excuse my language. But that's basically what it is. Suck it. That's basically what it is. He does not fall into the normal everyday rage, and now that people see it on the internet, oh my God, it must be true. He's not high on this, so it can't be a good match. There have been several. Let me take 205 Live for a great example here. That 205 Live match between Mustafa Ali and Buddy Murphy, it shook the internet. I could not see enough people talking about that match. And I'm glad. And 205 Live, they've had these same guys for a long time. Yeah, a few more names have been added into the mix, but now they're actually starting to pay attention to 205 Live instead of everybody just getting up and leaving the arena when 205 Live comes on after SmackDown. But just because your indie darling or your favorite person doesn't particularly win a match, I had to break it back down to where we originally started this conversation because I know I went off on a tangent here. But they're not buried, they're not gone, and people look around because you're overshadowing so many people because of the big names. Look at the other guys who are down there every day breaking their backs to be in this company and to put on an incredible show for us all to enjoy. And that's why 205 Live needs a little bit more credit than what they're given. And I'm sorry, I had to rant about that for a second. Y'all take it back.
No problem. And we're all the way off topic. This is supposed to be about Roman Reigns. And then we just kind of went on an indie tangent there. And I don't want people to think that I dislike indie wrestling. I don't. I definitely understand it's part of the culture. But at the same time, I don't feel like just because you were in an indie promotion, you deserve to come in WWE and get a push directly off the strength of that. When there's other guys who don't go through the indies and they have to earn their fan base, you pretty much need to be treated like you need to earn your fan base when you get to WWE as well.
And that's something
that's a great example. Sorry.
I was going to say that's something that Vince had always, tried to do, especially when there was WCW and ECW. No matter how big that person was in WCW, he would always try to bring them in and make them work back up. Not like they come in and, he of course did it with some people, but he tried not to have somebody come in as big as they were in the other company. And you try to make you work your way in that company, work your way up.
And the formula worked. A lot of people say that Vince destroyed WCW and tried to make him look bad. Sting, of all people, Sting tried to say that WWE tried to make WCW wrestlers look bad and pointed to the example of Booker T. But Booker T still was a world champion in WWE. Chris Jericho never won a world title in WCW. How many did he win in WWE? Yes. Eddie Guerrero never won a world title in WCW. How many did he win in WWE? Rey Mysterio never won a world title in WCW. How many did he win in WWE? Stone Cold never won a title in WCW. How many did he win in WWE? How many people can I name that went to WCW and they didn't do anything with him in the back in the day, and they became iconic when they went to WWE or WWF, depending
Yes.
on which it is. I'm sorry, you were talking. I just wanted to throw that out there.
You're fine. Like you said, there's so many people that accomplished so much because they came from WCW, went to WWF. There's or WWE. There's countless people. You can say Undertaker, like you said, all the people you said. Um, but if they didn't succeed, then everybody looked at them like they weren't as big as they was in the other company. Especially like ECW people. They'll say that they didn't use them well. What the hell was the Dudleys? What the hell did RVD do? I mean, Taz would have done big had he not gotten hurt, but I mean, Tajiri, all of them, even if they weren't world title champions, they did a lot of stuff. There's a lot of memorable things that they accomplished. And I think people forget that, sometimes with so many big name wrestlers in one company, not everybody is going to be able to get the world title. It's just impossible. There's too many. If that was happening each week, one person would win, then they would lose to the next big guy, and then the next big person each week they would just lose the title, so that somebody else could be the world champion. There's too many, um, but they're still in prominent spaces. They're still doing big things. They're still having good feuds. They're still accomplishing a lot of goals. And you ask them, they're happy. There may be a couple people that want to be higher up on the card, but you ask most of them, they're enjoying what they're doing. You ask Finn Balor, he's loving it. You see, do you hear him complaining online that he's not getting anything? Every time you see him, he's smiling. He's happy. He's not the world champion, but he's making money on the show all the time, in a good spot, having good feuds at the pay-per-views, at WrestleMania, at the live shows. He's doing everything. Kevin Owens, same thing. He's doing a lot of stuff. He's having some of the big moments. All these people, even if they're not the world champion, they are still doing a lot of big things while they are not the champion. And it's not to say that they won't be. Like I said, Finn came in NXT huge, won the title very quickly, came to Raw, won the title very quickly, beat Roman Reigns his first night, and then win the title. He got hurt, and that might have hurt him from going back to it because Vince might have said, well, he wants somebody that's not gonna can hold the title for a while, and he might have lost a little something saying, oh, he may be too easily hurt, but he's still in a great spot. So you can't say that these people aren't doing a great job or aren't making money, aren't feeding their families, aren't having a great time doing what they're doing.
However, I'm not. I'm sorry. I hate to keep this conversation going, and I hate to keep jumping in, but I did read an article on Twitter. I don't. I'm not sure if this was in our group, the Game Runners on Facebook, um, but I did see a post from one female superstar who was in the WWE, and it was Gail Kim, and
Oh
she said
yes.
she was not happy with her run in WWE, and if she were to return, she would not return to WWE. She would return to Impact.
Well, the thing is, not everybody's gonna be happy.
I
I
was just
mean,
going to say,
I
look
mean,
at the
I love Gail Kim to death, but yeah, they didn't. I don't think they used her right in the time she was there, and that's honest. But I mean, it's one girl, one man.
one
I
person,
mean,
Hmm.
100.
And
yeah. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, and it can't. A lot of people say it's the WWE's fault. You don't know why. You really don't know. It could be that she had a bad attitude. It could be that she wasn't showing up. It could be something with her. It could be something with the writers. It could just be they couldn't figure out what to do. It could be a lot of things to reason why they weren't able to use her. But I mean, if she doesn't want to come back, that's fine. You know, yes, she did a lot more stuff in TNA, but there's a lot of other women who say, "Die hard, thank you God." I mean, Trish Stratus and Lita, thank you God. If it wasn't for WWE, I wouldn't have the lifestyle. I wouldn't have done the stuff I've done. I wouldn't inspire people. All of this stuff. But like anything, not everybody is going to be happy. Like whatever is going on with Neville, he's not happy. But there's a lot of other people that are.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about it, Neville might be one of those guys that is very talented, and it's just the roster is just too talented for him to be, a major player right now. So as talented as he could walk into, Impact and be the biggest guy there. He could walk into New Japan and carve out his own, path in New Japan. He's that good, but it's not like that. Everybody doesn't have to go that route, and it's not that WWE is not pushing anybody. It's just you can't push everybody. But enough of that. Like I said, we went way off target and off topic on this one. As much as I like to, rant and get on my soapbox, we were talking about Roman Reigns. A lot of people not happy with him getting this push. I'm not one of those people. I really could care less. I'm more so upset at being him versus Brock again than anything else. But I'm definitely not going to be upset with Roman Reigns being a champion if he does win the title. Because eventually, with him having the title, A, it's going to be a title that's featured on the show every week, finally. And B, once again, whoever beats him, that's a meteoric push. If Braun Strowman wins the Universal title, it's his first world championship. So, I mean, it's going to be a meteoric push where whoever beats Brock, whoever beats Roman, or any other guy that's, in that upper echelon, so to speak. So when we're talking about title holders,
well, actually, there was a nice little segue that I wanted to make there. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off and take you away from your MC duties like you so love to do. Mm-hmm. But there was a topic that I wanted to discuss. People that I've seen that Vince is really high on. And it's actually a nice segue going from Roman Reigns to this next person I'm about to talk about, which is Andrade Cien Almas.
El Idolo.
El Idolo. Cien Almas had an excellent showing down at NXT. He has been putting in work, and ever since he paired with Zelina Vega, Thea Trinidad, Rosita, whatever you want to call her, the little mamacita from down the block, Jenny from the block, I don't care what you call her.
Fine ass.
Beautiful. Beautiful. She has been the best pairing with him, and he is bringing the matches. I mean, just last week, he had a one-on-one match with AJ Styles, and the match was great. Not good, but great. He also, this past week, had a match with Rusev. And of course, Rosita, Zelina Vega, had a little run-ins with Miss Lana.
Oh, the Ravishing Russian.
The Ravishing Russian, Rusev, Crush. Yes, we had a little glimpse of that. That could possibly be a feud. Almas is the future. And another person who I could consider the future is one Miss Lacey Evans, which Vince is also high on, was her woman's right.
Woman's right.
And man, I'm going to say this. If Lacey Evans and Charlotte were to become a tag team, the whole roster better be put on notice, because you got a queen and a lady together, and they're both big, powerful, tall, beautiful blonde women that can hurt you at the drop of a dime. And I would love that pairing to actually happen. Vince, I'm calling it now. The Queen and Evans together, the Queen and the Lady. Put them together.
I'm down
Very
for it.
true.
I'm here for it. Book it. But on that note, since we were discussing that, we're talking about people who are, Vince was high on. Let's talk about somebody that Triple H is high on. The new NXT champion, Mr. VIP. I heard you said you had some, you know, some light that you want to shed on the new NXT champion. Talk to the people.
Tommaso Ciampa. Uh,
The Black Heart.
the devil.
The devil himself.
He has completely just taken over as one of the top heels going today. And I always liked him when they were in the tag team and when they were in when they had the tournament. I was like, they had Gargano go over on him, and I'm like, man, I this guy is really good. I know they're gonna do something with him, and to see how big he's gotten, to see just how much heat he gets, just to see something so original as him coming out without any music. I mean, it's just something that you don't usually see, and just to hear him he just comes out with no music and just listen to the boos and the jeers and we hate you and die and you're the devil. It is amazing to see how good he's gotten. And I mean, his matches with Gargano, some of the best NXT has ever had. And now he's the champion. I can't wait to see what they do and see how this affects Gargano, because he basically is the reason why he won. He cost Aleister Black the championship. So it is good to see just somebody, a pure heel, um, get over as a heel, even though he's an internet darling, and completely get people to hate him. Not people, a couple people boo him, but people still cheer him because they remember what he did on the Indies. Just everybody completely hate him to the point where they're calling him the devil. It is great to see a heel, especially in this day and age, like that, because we
Yeah,
don't
it's
we don't
hard to
get to
be a
see
heel
that
in this
much.
age. It's hard to be a heel because people love bad guys so much, and while there's still
Yes,
love for Champa, just to be loved and to be hated at the same time is definitely something to gawk at. I mean, I definitely don't think that I could do it. I mean, not saying that I would be a great wrestler in the WWE anyway, but I mean, you can't wrap your mind around being able to do the things that Champa is doing right now.
yes.
He
I
has
mean,
taken he has taken it to a whole nother stratosphere.
yes, yes.
I mean, there has been nobody who's drawn that much heat in the WWE in an extremely long time. I mean, there is one female who drew a ton of heat, but they also say that she couldn't wrestle, and I thought that she was just getting good before she left the company, which is Eva Marie. She had that natural heat. Some people just have that natural heat. You just like would rather spit on them than look at them. And
I
Tommaso
would,
Ciampa, yeah, you would.
I would love to do some things to Eva Marie, but I'm sorry. Keep going, keep going.
We all know you would. I read everything. I don't know
Oh,
how much the carpet matches the drapes, but anyway,
oh my
um,
God, I would love to see.
but it takes a special quality to make somebody hate you so much that's the showmanship that has been missing in WWE for quite some time,
Yes, very
and
much.
not since X Pac. I mean, they always go back to X Pac heat. X Pac heat. That is like the standard. Like, well, people would rather just throw stuff at you than have to see you walk out. Tommaso Ciampa is that and beyond X Pac heat. He's in a class of his own. It's now Ciampa heat. It's not
Yes.
X-Pac heat anymore. It's Ciampa heat. And I don't care what anybody else says. Tommaso Ciampa is a Sicilian psychopath, psycho killer, whatever you want to call him. He is going to take this title and he is going to make it something that it hasn't been in a long time. And I'm not taking anything away from Aleister Black or Andrade Cien Almas or Joe or Nakamura or Finn or Sami Zayn or whoever had the title before him. I'm not taking anything away from any of those guys, but none of them have gotten booed out of an arena and yelled obscenities to on a regular basis like this man. He's doing something and he's doing it right. So I give you praise, Tommaso Ciampa.
For sure, for sure. And I don't think that we talk a lot about what's going on in NXT on the show. But Ciampa, I think that NXT is already top level wrestling, great storylines going around there. Just to have the biggest heel in the company as the NXT champion is going to do wonders for him before he makes it to the main roster. We're talking that he might get a Kevin Owens level push, the way that Kevin Owens got a push when he first came to the company, win the NXT title, while you're the NXT champion, challenge John Cena and beat him at a pay-per-view.
Yes.
It just makes me think, like, what can they do on that level for Ciampa? Let's say Ciampa comes to the main roster and he feuds with a huge face and does the same thing.
Daniel Bryant.
Oh my goodness, that would definitely
he tries to hurt Daniel Bryant.
That would definitely make him the biggest heel in wrestling today, not even just in WWE. That would make him the biggest heel in wrestling if he came to the main roster and tried to take out Daniel Bryan.
Yes, just try to keep kicking him in the head. Just try to do whatever he can to try to put him out.
Yeah, keep kicking him in the head, kick him in the neck. It would be
try to DDT him, pull the mat back on the ring and try to DDT him on it. I mean, he's there's so much they could do with him on the main roster. It's something they need. He's somebody that they really need on the main roster, a heel like that. Now we may be getting Orton to come back as the great heel, but Ciampa is so good at what he's doing.
Yeah, Ciampa is the future. Orton is revisiting some of what a glimpse of what he used to do back in the day, but Ciampa is definitely the future, and that's definitely going to be probably the top heel for years to come. I can't even see Tommaso Ciampa as a face anymore. He's so heel. Like, I don't think that he should ever turn face for the rest of his career in WWE.
Yeah. I don't, like you said, he's too, I mean, I think the good guy, the face Ciampa was only because he was teaming with Gargano, and, he was the good guy, and I think that was the only reason they brung him in and kept him. But I think this is what they've been waiting on, to go in and turn him bad. I mean, I remember them talking about him and calling him the psycho killer. And I was like, how you can't be a psycho killer if you're a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to kill nobody. So,
and him and Gargano, when they were doing the Glorious Bomb, that was real face. That was real. That was something that the fans loved.
Yeah, but just seeing what he's become, I mean, just the talk and just little stuff like when he was in the match with Gargano, he took his wedding ring off and threw it in the crowd. I'm like, oh my God.
When I saw that, I had to say, please let that be a fake wedding ring.
I mean, stuff like that. I could not imagine what else he could do to other people. I mean, just think that this is just Gargano right now. And what he did to Aleister Black when he had him on that table and did the spinning neck breaker to the floor in the back. Mm-hmm. I mean, just wait to see what kind of fuse he could come. What else could he do in NXT, SmackDown, and Raw? Just the sky's the limit.
Tommaso Ciampa is a rare, rare, rare breed, and we don't get heels like this anymore. So
No.
I'm like you. I'm like, I just can't wait to see what he'll do to somebody like a Daniel Bryan, or to somebody like Finn Balor, or just like
God.
any of the indie darlings, so to speak. Even though he kind of is one himself, but just to see what he can do given the people that the main roster holds, I'm like,
Seth Rollins.
Yes, I cannot wait to see him. Jeff Hardy. There's so many people I can just keep throwing out here that I would love to see him fight. And I don't think that I would not be entertained with him fighting anybody up there, heel or face. He could just come out as the devil himself.
And he's gonna bring whatever face he's fighting. He's gonna make them go. The crowd get behind him even more because they hate him so much, and that's what a true heel is supposed to do.
Put him with Roman Reigns. There you go. There's a solution. Give Tommaso Ciampa Roman Reigns. If you want to get him over as a face so bad,
they're gonna love everything Ciampa does to him. They're gonna cheer everything Ciampa does to him.
Oh, so you're gonna say it's gonna backfire? Okay.
It's gonna backfire. He attacks Roman Reigns, the crowd gonna be like, "You're God!" You're God. You'll be like, "Damn it!" Yes. Hit him again. Kick him again. Break his neck.
Yeah, he's gonna be a god if he attacks Roman Reigns like that.
Like,
he'll probably go from being the biggest heel to probably being the biggest star in the company at that point. He's gonna be bigger than
face in history.
He's gonna be bigger than Daniel Bryan.
Hell yeah, they're gonna love him.
That's bad. That is so bad. I don't know why Roman gets so much hate like that. Roman is not a bad wrestler. He's not a bad guy. He's not a good guy. He's the guy. Deal with it. But still, like, we're just imagining what the crowd will be, and you're 100% right. That's how much they cannot stand to have Roman Reigns in that spotlight, and I completely disagree with that.
We all do, but
disagree with that.
What are you gonna do? You can't please wrestling fans.
Of course not. Of course not. That's why we had that 2-hour conversation the other week about how wrestling fans don't know what the hell they want. They're so damn thick.
All you got to do is fire Roman Reigns, and the crowd would love it. And he goes to every promotion in the world is going to grab him, and he's going to be the top dog in every promotion.
He's going to go to Japan. If I'm Roman Reigns, if I get fired from WWE right now, I'm going to Japan and I'm feuding with Tama Tonga off gate.
Yes.
Or I'm feuding with Chris Jericho over there. I'm feuding with Kenny Omega.
Whoever the champion is.
With the Bullet Club. Regardless of where you go, you're feuding with the Bullet Club. You go to Ring of Honor, you go to New Japan, you're going to feud with the Bullet Club. You go to Impact, you're going to die. Because
there's nobody for you to feud with but yourself. Impact.
Basically.
Well, we kind of got off topic a lot tonight, but I will say it was definitely some great convo here. We're going to go ahead and wrap up tonight's show and jump into our final thoughts. Mr. VIP, I always make Lady Great One go first, but I'm going to let her go last this week since this was her birthday week, and you're going to go first. Give us a final thought.
You're going to do it when I ain't got a final thought. I'm guessing just, I just can't wait. Would love to just go back to the days where wrestling fans were wrestling fans, and you just love wrestling, whatever company it was. You just loved it to love it. You didn't worry about the backstage stuff. You just wanted to see what happened next. With Roman winning, well, let's see what happens. If Roman wins at SummerSlam, who is the next person he's going to fight? it's not going to end. So there's going to be somebody he's coming up with, and I know we didn't get to talk about it, but I just want to say we're going to have Samoa Joe and AJ Styles fight finally in the WWE. Just picture Samoa Joe and AJ Styles finally. That's my final thought.
All right. Um, well, my final thought of tonight is going to be uh, definitely more expounding on this whole Roman Reigns thing. Um, I just think that the guy gets a lot of heat that he doesn't necessarily deserve, and it's just because people were mad that they knew that he was going to be a main eventer when he left the Shield, which is not a reason to hate somebody or not like that they're getting pushed. I think that I just want fans to get back to watching WWE and allowing themselves to get drawn into to some of the build for some guys, rather than expecting certain guys from indies to get pushed. So I'm just going to end on that same note. That's my final thought of the night. Lady Great One, go ahead and close us out with your final thought.
I'm in the exact same position as Mr. VIP. I didn't have a final thought lined up,
Oh, you had two people go before you.
But I can bring this subject back to attention. Since we're talking about the women's evolution revolution, I'll go ahead and take it back to this. My final thought is it's been a long, long time coming. And regardless of who started the revolution or who didn't, who made it famous, who brought it to light, it's more about the fact that we're getting an all woman pay per view. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I don't care if it's Zelina Vega versus Lana in a who's the best manager match. I don't care who it is. And I'm just excited to see what we could possibly have. I'm excited to see who's going to come back. I'm excited to see if we're going to have all women's um, referees, if we're going to have all women. We're going to have all women ring announcers than more than I can imagine. We're going to have all women commentary. I just want to see who's going to actually step up, and show the fact that we here, we made it, and you got to pay attention to us because we're going to put on a show for all of you to enjoy. And that is marking out amongst friends. I greatly appreciate the birthday love from all of you guys, and I can't wait to do it again next week. So this has been Marking out.